Hi everyone, welcome to Puddinwood Avenue. My name is Bindi. So today I want to show you how to make this child size sun hat. Now the inspiration from this came from a little neighbour friend down the road who gave me her hat, her old hat, and said, can you make me a new one? So I have copied this pattern. I don't know where it came from. It's a basic double crochet beanie to the end with a half double crochet. I did a half double crochet edge and then a V-stitch and then a scallop to finish it off. Added a little flower because that's what her original one had as well, and I just copied this pattern as well to the best of my ability. So I'm going to show you today how to do this. It looks so cute on. It looks weird when it's flat, but when it's like stretched out hat shape, it looks pretty cool, I think. I'm going to use a 4mm hook, and I'm using Makeup brand, which is a Lincraft, I think. Yep, Lincraft brand yarn. It's Maker. The type is called Venture. The color is rainbow. It is a little stiff, but you sort of want that for a hat, especially if you've got a brim on it. So this yarn, it's 100% acrylic. There's 250 meters per ball. Now I've just weighed this hat, and I think it weighs 43 grams, and I've got 57 or something here, so I know I've got enough, which is always a really good way of working out if you've got enough yarn, if you're going to make two of something. Weigh the finished product. I've included the flour, and then weigh whatever yarn you've got, and that's okay. Then I know that I've got enough. Needle size recommended are 4, which is what I'm using. Care instructions: gentle machine or hand wash, don't bleach or soak, do not tumble dry, dry flat, and a cool iron. It'd have to be extremely cool because it's 100% acrylic and you don't want it to melt. Alright, I started doing this and I've just frogged it all. So that's why this wool looks like spaghetti. And this should turn out a little differently because I started making another one. I thought, why not do a tutorial on it? Because it's so simple to whip up. And we're in autumn here in Australia at the moment. So, it's going to be nice and warm to wear. Be lovely for as it starts to get cooler, and also into winter, because it is that acrylic. It is a tight stitch, and it should keep your head nice and warm. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. Let's see if I got it right. Oh no, I always get it wrong. Zoom in, put that in the middle so I know where I've got to put my hands. And we're going to start with a magic circle, which is just making like an awareness ribbon knot. Put your yarn in, hold that, stay up. See, this is not for advertisement. This is for me to keep on place, and I never do. All right, so keep your finger on the crossover part, and you're gonna wrap your yarn. Keep that tension there, pull it through, and do a single crochet, and that is going to keep your knot in place. So that single crochet doesn't mean anything. It's just locking your magic circle into place. Okay, so into this circle, now you'll have 3 pieces of yarn. 1, 2, 3. You want to put the short tail over to the left and work into the circle, which is now on the right. Okay, so we're going to do 12 double crochets into the circle. So yarn over, I'll go again, yarn over, go into the circle, capture your yarn and pull it through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over. Oh, hang on, I think that ply belongs to this piece here. It does. There we go. Yarn over and pull through 2. Now we want 12 of these to start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's Maynard. 6. I'm just going to pull my tail to make my circle a little bit smaller, a bit more manageable. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. And 12. Now, this is going to be the quickest, easiest beanie you've ever seen, or hat that you've ever seen. So I'm going to pull my string, my tail, to close up that loop a little bit. Sorry about that, coughing, oh my gosh. And before I pull it too tight, I want to make sure I can see that that's my V here at the end, but I just want to count back, and I always make sure I've got my 12 and that I haven't missed anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. So I can see that there's my V. Now, the first part of that V is actually laying on the front of the work. So you want to make sure you capture that and don't go through these ones here at the back, because that's not the actual stitch. That's the back loop and the bump, and we don't want that. So we're going to go through here, and we're just going to do a slip stitch. Okay, beautiful. Just going to stretch that out. Now, I've still got a circle, a hole in the middle, so I'm going to put my work at the front of my fingers with the tail coming through, and I'm going to pull with all my might without breaking the yarn, which I've done before. Oh, I can feel it moving. There you go. Give it a little wriggle. There is my very tightly closed circle. Now, we're going to work back into that same space that we just went into. And this hat is so easy to do. We've got 5 rows. Oh, I'm showing you can't see it. 5 increase rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got 10 rows of just double crochet. So very, very easy. Okay, so we're going to yarn over. We're going to go into the first stitch, and we're going to put 2 double crochets into every stitch all the way around. So we started with 12, we'll end up with 24. Now, because of this variegated yarn, this hat will actually come out looking a little different to the original because of the colorway and the color that we started with first. So the color we started with first on this one is yellow and going into orange, and on the other hat, the original one, we started very much with the purple, going into the pink, onto the orange. So our hat's going to look different. It may even have a little bit more of the blue-green in it, which would be great. Okay, so because it's double crochet, it's really easy to see our original stitch where we're going to go back into. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go per stitch, 2 stitches into each stitch below. And I'm not counting, but you can if you want to. We're going to end up with 2 in each. So you can count in 2s or whatever, but you can end up with 24 stitches altogether. As long as you've got 2 in each stitch, you can't go wrong. Oh, hang on. You can go wrong if you don't get in the hole. Oh my gosh. Alrighty. So, nearly all the way around. And this does not take long to whip up at all. Alrighty. Now, this is still a stitch here. And we need to make sure that we don't work into that little space here. This space here, this one, is the slip stitch to join to the first one. We don't want to work into that. But this one here is still a stitch. So we need to do 2 into that stitch. Now, something I've been playing with, so okay, so we've got 24, so I can see here that there are my 2 stitches, there is my V. I'm not going to touch this little sideways stitch here, and I'm going to get my my V stitch, and I'm going to put my yarn, my hook through, capture yarn, pull it through, and close it. We're not going to wrap, so that's a stitch, a slip stitch. That's 2. Okay, so something I've been playing with, normally, let me find mine. Normally you do a chain 1, let me have to zoom back out a bit to show you this. We do a chain 1 and then go into the next stitch, and always leaves a gap, and I kind of don't like it. So I tried something with this, and I'm kind of liking the way this turned out, whether it's right or wrong. But I haven't been doing the chain 1. I've just been jumping straight in and doing the next double crochet, which might be a little weird and wonderful. It was weird and wonderful to me too. So we're going to try that. So we're going to work into that same stitch that we just went into. Normally we'd do a single crochet, and I nearly did it to start with. All right, let's go back in to go that way. Oh, I got it right. Seriously. It's amazing. And because it's row 3, we're going to do 3 clusters of 3 stitches. So in our first stitch, we're going to yarn over and go into where we just came out of. Yarn over and do a double crochet. And in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. So that's our first little repeat of 3. Then we're going to go into the next stitch and do 1 double crochet. So 1, and into the next stitch we're going to do 2. So 1, 2, 3. And it's easy to remember what you're up to, because your repeat of however many stitches is whatever number row you're on. So let's keep going. So 1 into the next one, 1, and 2 into the next one, 2, 3, and I just count my way around the whole circle in 3s. You can count your stitches if you like, but if I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I know that I've got the right number of stitches in the right stitch. So 1, 2, 3. So we start off with 12. Row 2, we doubled it to 24. Row 3, we're going to do 36. So however you do it, as long as you've got 36 stitches at the end, 1, you'll be okay. 2, 3. Oh, my hand's caught. I'm nearly working my way through my spaghetti. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So at the end of this, we just count and make sure we've got 36 stitches to make sure that we've got the right count number. One. Just double check and making sure I've got the right thing. 2, 3. I can see I've got 4 stitches left, so I know I'm right. 1, 2, 3, And in the last 2 stitches we're going to do our bundle of 3. So that wasn't right. Now if you went up a hook size, that would change the size of your little hat. 1. If you changed the size of the yarn, that would also change the size of your hat. 2 and 3. Now this is really important here. Don't work into that little space because that's our sideways slip stitch. So we're going to work into our V, which is right here, which is our first double crochet. Slip stitch closed. And that's round number 3 done. Okay, round number 4, same thing. We're going to do this weird and wonky. Can you see there's no gap there? I'm liking that. I don't know if it'd work for every pattern, but because this is such a simple, basic, just double crochet, and double crochets are quite tall and it's stretchable, it doesn't seem to make a difference in the seam. But there is no gap, which is something that I really don't like. So we're going to be naughty. We're going to go again. We're going to do the same thing. We're not going to chain 1. Oh my gosh, it's really weird. So yarn over. We're going to go into that same space that we just come out of, and we're going to do a double crochet. Make it nice and loose. Don't do it too tight or it will pucker. So this is round number 4. So we're going to do a repeat of 4 stitches. So 1 into the first stitch, 1 into the second stitch, and 2 into the third stitch. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now if you've watched any of my other beanie or hat videos, you'll know that I count like that. It just helps me remember. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the end part means it goes into the same stitch. So we're just going to do this all the way around. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. I know what the problem is. I haven't had enough coffee today. Oh my gosh. Hang on a second. Alrighty. So we're just going to continue this all the way around. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Alright, so I'm just going to pause it here. I'll meet you around when we get to the other side over here. So just keep going. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And I'll see you in just a second. Alright, I'm about to do my 3 and 4 into this stitch here. 3 and 4. Okay, again, make sure you don't work into this little space here, which is our sideways slip stitch. We're going to go into our top of our double crochet here, and we're going to slip stitch into that. So that is row 4 done. We're about to do row 5, and guess what? We're going to be going through little repeats of 5 stitches. So it's a single crochet in the first 3 and then 2 in the last one. So yarn over, back into where we worked. So row 5, we're going to be doing groups of 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and then into the next stitch we're going to be doing 4 and 5, 4 and 5, and that's our repeat. So let's keep going. So 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, so 1, 2, 3, and then we want 2 into the next one, 4 and 5, so 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch. Here's me. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go 2 into the next stitch, 4 and 5. So we're just going to do that repeat all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 4 and 5, go into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So just going to continue that all the way around. This is the last of our increase round, and then we're going to start doing the sides. So I'll meet you back over here. So just continue counting in your 5s. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 go into the same stitch. 4 and 5. Alright, I'll meet you back in a second. Just continue around and I'll see you over here at the end. Alright, so we've done 1, we're back almost at the end. 2, 3, 4 and 5. And we're going to slip stitch into that V, which is the top of our double crochet that we did. Okay, so that is the first 5 rows of our little hat. Now I'm going to try something a little different. I made all of this hat with a 4mm hook. I'm going to go up just a tiny bit, and I'm going to do the rest of it with a 4.5mm. So I'm using a 4mm at the moment, but I'm going to try and do the rest of it with a 4.5mm. That should just give it a little bit more stretch, because I was just thinking, my young friend down the road down here, Miss Violet, it's exactly the same measurements, everything, but her hat is stretched a little bit, okay, because she's had it for quite a while. I can't see. It's for quite a while, and it has stretched. Now, she gave this to me, and I made it the same row number, the same count number. However, she has grown, so I do want it to fit her, and it will stretch. It's pretty good, but I don't want it to be too tight on her head either. So I think if I up just half a hook size, it might make a bit of a difference. All right, so let me just get back into here. Is that right? Okay. So we are now going to do the sides of our hat. Now, so from row 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, there are 10 rows to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 before we do the edging. Okay, so this is the easiest part of the hat. It is literally 1 double crochet into every stitch. So yarn over into that space where we've just come out of, And I'm just going to, now if you wanted to do this as a spiral, where you don't connect and just keep going round and round and round and round, you could do that. That would be not a problem. But I'm just going to continue doing exactly what we've done, but we're just going to put one stitch in each stitch. So one double crochet all the way around every stitch. Now this pull hook, I haven't used this one before. I bought this off Wish, believe it or not. I bought a set of crochet hooks. They look like tulips. They kind of comparable to tulips. To a certain extent. I like the way the handle goes. I think this cost me $6 maybe, and there are 9 hooks in there ranging from a 2mm to a 6mm. I've used the 6mm, I've used the 4 and the 4.5 before, but I find that you have to warm them up a little bit, so I'm just using my dress here at the moment. That's the 4mm and the 5mm. They take a little bit to warm up, and all hooks do, but I'm just rubbing this back and forth, up and down, round and round, just to, number one, get that coating, the new coating off, and you have to do this with good name hooks as well. I always give my beautiful furls a bit of a polish up with a microfiber cloth. Number one, it looks after them, but also number two, helps to warm them up. I find if you warm up your hooks, it's going to work through a lot better. So, so I'm just going to keep going, and I will meet you back at the bottom when we get to 10 rows. So I'm just going to go all the way around. And again, this is so easy to see the rows on this because we haven't done it in a spiral. If you do it in a spiral, can I suggest that you use a stitch marker so that you know where you begin and end. But I'm just going to keep it with my slip stitch together and continue on to the next round so that it's easy to see. So you'll have 15 rows all together. I don't think I want it any longer, but I do think I want it just a little bit bigger. This is also going to help with the drape of the hat as well. So I've got a photo or two of the hat that I've taken, that the hat that I made, and I will pop that into either the beginning or the end or both of this video. I'll probably do one at the beginning so you can see what it is that we're making, what it looks like. But yeah, just going to do 10 rows now of this one stitch, one double crochet into every stitch all the way around, and we want 10 rows of it. So I'm going to pause the video here and we'll come back together when we've got our 10 rows done. It shouldn't take very long. Depends on your crochet speed and your experience, I suppose. But double crochets are awesome. I'm working on a big granny square blanket that is one of my works in progress. Sleeping whip, I started last year, and then the place I got the yarn from ran out of the yarn and I had to wait for more to come in. Big saga story, oh my gosh. But it's now here, and it's been here for a little while and I haven't done anything with it. And so I finished making another project, and I thought I'm just going to jump in and do a couple of rows of my big granny square blanket. It is going to be heavy, which is good. It's coming up to winter, but it's so soft and squishy, and it's very, very pretty. So it's just a granny square. So double crochets are my favorite. For me, they are the fastest stitch to do. They're fast in the actual stitch themselves. I like the repetition of the going in, wrap your yarn, round 2, through 2, through 2. I really like that repetition. And because it's a granny stitch, it's actually a proper granny square, but just made much larger. I love it because You don't have to look because you can feel where the next lot of 3 stitches go. Subconsciously you get into your head, 3 stitches into the next space, 3 stitches into the next space, 3 stitches into the next space, because I'm not doing a single crochet in between my clusters. So I find it really easy, really quick, not mind numbing, but just mindful. You know, I'm making something, it feels soft and squishy. When I look down and start a new row or get to the corner, just that sense of accomplishment. I love crochet. But yeah, so now you're going to notice that it's going to start to wrinkle and buckle, and that's okay. That's because we're not increasing, we're not putting any more stitches into the round, because this is actually going to be the sides of the hat. Now it's also going to wrinkle a little bit because I'm using a slightly bigger hook, which is saying, what are you doing? But I'll show you in just a second. I've almost finished this round. How it's going to sit, how it's going to fit. And once we get our 10 rows done, this wrinkle at the top, you won't notice it, you won't see it, because it will all be down at the same. So here we are, one more to go. Because remember, we're not going to work into our little sideways stitch. That's our slip stitch to join, so not this one here. I'm going to do my slip stitch here, and you're going to go, oh, what have I done wrong? It looks weird, but it's not. If you flip it the other way, because this is the top, you can see that it's starting to round off, and that's what we're looking for. This is going to be our beanie hat. All right, so that's 1. We need 9 more rows, so I will stop here. And yeah, just continue 1 in each stitch all the way around. We want 10 rows of this 1 in each stitch, 15 from the top all the way down. Like I said, easy to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want to get to 15. So when you get to 15, come on back. So it's 10 of this one, 5 or 15 altogether. Come on back and I'll show you how to do the edge and then the border. See you shortly. Alrighty, so we have now done a total of 15 rows. Funny story to tell you, but let's just double check our number of rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 rows. Now, how cool is the colorway on this hat? Funny story, I got to the green, somewhere in here, there's a knot in here somewhere, and my yarn was broken in the middle of the skein. So, okay, fine. So I've joined it back up, and it happened to be green again, but the way they've wound this skein of wool is that instead of continuing on, it's worked back in the opposite colors. So how cool is that? I was very happy. I was a bit sad when I came across the break in the yarn, but overall it's worked out really well. All right, so let's go to our next bit. That's got to go over there somewhere. Which is, so we've now done our 15 rows, our 5 rows of increases, our 10 rows of just our 1 in each stitch double crochet. Just a little bit of a fun fact, you know those 10 rows that you've just done? That's 600 stitches. There's a lot of work that goes into crochet. All right, so for our next row, it's our finishing off row for the hat part of it, for the beanie part of it, and we're just going to do a half double crochet into every stitch. Again, I'm being a bit naughty. I really like the way that seam is working out, apart from my stitches not quite matching up, the colorway not quite matching up, but that's not the fault of the stitches, it's just the way the yarn worked. There's no gap. I like it. All right, so we're going to do a half double crochet into every stitch. Half double crochet is exactly that. It's half of a double crochet, so it's exactly the same. So yarn over, we're going to go back into that same stitch that we've just worked, capture our yarn with our 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, but for a half double crochet, we're going to pull it through all 3 loops. So again, yarn over, into the stitch, capture our yarn, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so I really like the half double crochet too. Not quite as much as I like the double crochet, but I like the way that it's a nice little compact stitch. And so we're just going to go around. Hang on, let me get some yarn. Sorry, bumped the camera. And we're just going to go all the way around with a half double crochet. Did you realize that you'd done that many stitches? 600 stitches in that last 10 rows, because there's 60 stitches around 10 by 10 rows. All right, I'm going to pause it till we get around to the end, unless you want me to chatter for 60 stitches, which I could. And I'll meet you up at the end, and then we'll get onto our V stitches and our scallop edge. So just continue half double crochet all the way around, 1 in every stitch, and I'll see you back at the end here in just a sec. Okay, so we're just about to do our last half double crochet. I got a chicken out there going off, and we're going to slip stitch together. Okay, now to start off with our little brim here, we're going to do some V stitches. Oh, they go this way actually, if you're working through them. And so we're going to do the first half of the V, and then we're going to end with the second half of the V. So we're going to do one half first, and this time what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a double crochet back into that same space. Okay, so we're going to have 2 together. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we're going to do 2 double crochet into the next stitch. 1, 2. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do 2 more double crochets into that same stitch. So 1, 2. So we've got 4 stitches all together into that 1. So we've got 2 double crochet, 2 chain, 2 double crochet. Okay, we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and we're going to do our V stitch. So 2 double crochet, 1 in the same stitch, 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and 2 double crochet in the same space. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, and into that same space we're going to do 2 more double crochets. So that's our V stitch that we're going to do, which is going to be the first part of our little brim. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, 2 double crochet, 1, 2, 2 chain, 1, 2, 2 double crochet back into that same space, 1, 2, and again we're just going to continue that all the way around. Skip 2, 1, 2, do our V stitch, so 2 double crochet, 1, 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and 2 double crochet in the same space, 1, 2. Now if you wanted to just leave it there without putting the brim on, that would be awesome with a pom-pom. So it's just a beanie. That will work, not a problem. But because we're putting this little brim on and we're doing this, it's actually going to sit out because it's not, there's more stitches. 1, 2, I'm going to do now V-stitch. There's more stitches going around here, which is going to make it sit out a little bit, which is what the brim is all about. 2 chain, 1, 2, 2 double crochet in the same space. So there's very little difference in between making a hat and a beanie. Hat has a brim, beanie does not. So if you wanted to just make a beanie that would fit a child, say probably a 5 to a 7 or an 8-year-old, depends on, oh that's wrong, depends on their the size of their head. You could just make a beanie, or if you put the little brim on it, you can make them a little hat. So V-stitch, skip 2, 1, 2, 2 double crochet, 1, 2, 2 chain, and 2 double crochet into the same space. One, 2. So I have to thank my little friend down the road down here, Miss Violet, for asking me to make her this hat, because I would never have thought to put a brim on a beanie before. So thank you, Violet. I can't give credit to whoever did the pattern because I don't know who came up with the pattern, and maybe she told me who made it for her. I can't, maybe Grandma, I can't remember, but they did a good job, and it's a really good inspiration to learn something new. Look at something that's already been made, see if you can replicate it. I was a bit worried because I was unsure of, what I was doing with this, but it worked out really well. I'm really happy with that first one, and I'm really happy with this one. I think it's really cool that it's got that green stripe in the middle, the blue and green. 1, 2, and like I said, I was a bit disappointed when I pulled out the yarn and it was totally broken, but the bit in the middle that I joined up with was green anyway. So I thought, oh well, it's, I don't know, breaking the yarn or something. But then it worked back the other way. I thought that was pretty cool. Just checking my work as I go, because I talk and I forget what I'm doing. 1, 2. So we're nearly there, and then we're going to get onto our shells, which are going to go in the 2 chain space that we're creating in this round here. And then we are done. One, 2. Now somewhere along the line, I think I've got an extra stitch. Fudge it. It's okay. We'll see what happens when we get to the end here. I might have to skip 3 or something. But yeah, I think I ended up with an extra 61 stitches somewhere along the line, but we'll see what happens when we get to the end here. 1, 2, into the same space, 2 more double crochet. Yarn over, 1, 2, we're nearly there. The way that the color change happens in this yarn is really weird. It doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. Now, like I said, with that break in the yarn, oh, there's dogs going off. With that break in the yarn, it's kind of made it better, but normally the color change, the pattern doesn't kind of make sense. I've made a few things with this Maker yarn. This, what's it called? Maker is the brand, which is Lincraft. Venture. Now the other thing it doesn't tell you either is what size it is. I'm going to say it's a lightweight 3, a DK weight. I don't think it's thick enough to be a 4, which is why it's asking for a 4mm hook. Recommends a 4mm hook on the label. 1, 2. But you know, when you read that label, you don't always have to follow the instructions, right? That's only recommended hook size. This is a 4.5. It's making it much softer and much drapier, which is really nice. You can use any size hook with any yarn. Just be aware that the bigger hook that you use, 1, 2. Oh, look at that nut. Well, I worked out right. Holy guacamole. The bigger the hook you use, the bigger the drape, the softer it falls, but also the bigger holes it has. So just be aware, play around with it, and see what suits what you're looking for. What sort of, are you making a garment that you want a soft fall? Okay, so we're back to the beginning. Okay, so we're going to yarn over, and we're going to do into the same stitch where we started, into this one here. We're going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 1. I can't even count. 2. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and into the top of that, the chain 3. In the top one, we're going to do our slip stitch. Now the reason for that is that we're still in the middle of our stitch here, right? So if you have a look on this one, okay, so that's where we're done. So in here we're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3. You can see that that's what I've done here, and we're going to do, so we chain 3 and then we're going to skip to the first chain 2 space, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets into that next chain 2 space. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and into the next chain 2 space, so not this space here in between our V's, we're going to go in the middle where our chain 2 space is, and we're going to do 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's going to give us our first shell. Okay, so we're going to skip the space in between our V's, and we're going to go in the middle where our chain 2 space is, and we're going to do 5 double crochets to make our shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we're going to skip this next space, and we're going to go to our chain 2 space in between our V's and do 5 double crochet. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's the effect that we're looking for. We've got our V stitches and our shells above it. So yarn over, we're going to skip this space, we're going to go to our 2 chain space in between our V's and another shell stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, into the next chain 2 space, another 5. Oh, sorry, bumping the camera. 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 4 and 5. Jump to the next chain 2 space. Remember, we're missing that little gap in between. We're going to our chain 2 space. And we're doing our 5 double crochet to make our next shell stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, in the next chain 2 space. See how that's really works up really quick. Right, I'm going to leave you here, miss that little gap, go to our chain 2 space, and I will meet you back around at the end. So remember, we're missing the space in between the V-stitch. We're going in the middle of the V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, where the 2 chain space is. Okay, so we're missing this one, stitching this one, missing that one, stitch that one, miss that one, stitch that one, all the way around. I'll meet you back over here at the end and we'll finish off our little beanie, our little hat. See you in a second. Okay, we're here to our second to last shell. So we're going to do our 5 double crochets into this one. Four and 5, and we're up to our join one. So we're up to the end, and into this I'm lost. Here I am. We're gonna do 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and pull it across into the, here we go, yep, I'm right. Don't panic, I thought I was doing it wrong. So here's our chain 3 beginning. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and into the top of that chain 3 we're going to do our slip stitch to close it. So that makes our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are going to finish off. I've got a pair of scissors here somewhere. There they are. So snip it, pull it nice and tight, and sew that in. Of course I didn't bring my needle over, but I'll turn it this way and I will sew it backwards, and I will go down here and I will go backwards and forwards probably 3 times into these stitches here, so it will not come out. Also make sure that you go back up in here to your magic circle, give it another nice tight pull. I will go around probably 3 or 4 stitches, and then I'll come back and I'll go around as many times as I can with whatever yarn is left over to finish it off. So there is our back seam. Again, I think it looks pretty good. I wish that the colour change had have gone up a bit so that they were equal, because that to me looks like it's a spiral where they don't quite meet. But anywho, but if we go to the front, here is the front of our hat. Our little band will stand up, flip out like that, and again it doesn't quite look right, but once you put it on, it's right. So I'm going to fold that down flat, and I'm going to just lay it right out. Again, I'm going to, wrong way. I never go the right way with this thing. And I'm going to lay the first one I did on top and see if going up a hook has made a difference. I think it has. So I'm just going to squish that down, fold the brim. I think it's made it a little bit bigger, which I think will suit my lovely little violet friend. Yep, absolutely. So it hasn't made a difference in the length because we did the same number of rows, but it has made it a little bit bigger on the sides, which will mean the circumference is a little tiny bit bigger. So maybe by the time you double that, maybe 4 centimeters bigger, which I think would be great for a growing young girl. I'll show you how to make this flower too. So that's I'm very happy with that. Those hats, they're so cute. The yarn is really good too. It's not the softest yarn, but once you wash it, it does become softer, but it's sturdy enough that it's gonna cope with the stretch of being worn and worn and worn and worn, like Violet's original one here. Oops, sorry, bumping the camera. And that's why it's stretched out so much, because it is that acrylic, it has that stretch. So it will grow with her. So, all right, let's see, what color am I gonna do this? I've got purple here. I wonder how much purple I've got. Prob's not enough to do that flower. All right, let's start from the other side. Oof. Oof. I'm gonna pull that out. I'm gonna find. Okay. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the pinky purple. So I'm actually going to cut that. Oh my gosh, you're wasting it. Nope, I'm going to make probably a little butterfly or a worry worm, something that I never waste the yarn. So that little bit I'm going to cut off, and I'm going to go with the outside yarn, and I'm going to show you how to make that little flower. Okay, I don't know how many I did in the middle. 6, I think. I don't know, I made it up. All right, let's make this up then, shall we? All right, let's go. Okay, so I'm going to do a magic circle. And I'm going to, chain my 1 to lock it into place, and I'm going to do 6 double crochets. Let's do double crochets. Nope, I think they were single crochets. Let's go 6 single crochets and see what happens. So 1, so remember that when you come back around that V there is what you're going to be looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 single crochets. Pull my tail to close up that thing, and I'm going to count back this way. Let's give it a bit of a wriggle so that nothing's caught. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is where I'm going to go into. That's why I don't like closing up that circle tight at the beginning. Single crochets into a magic circle is a little difficult, but that's okay. We'll manage. And we're going to slip stitch into that. Okay, now I'm going to tighten up my circle. So I put my work at the front of my fingers with the tail at the back, and I'm going to give it a nice strong pull. Beautiful. And I'm going to do 2 double crochets into each stitch. So yarn over, back into where we worked from. One, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is going to turn out bigger than the other one because I'm still using the 4.5mm hook. Doesn't matter. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those dogs are chasing a poor little lizard out there. Oi! And bashing into my little tomato plants that are growing out of my daffodil bulb pot. Hang on a second, I'm going to have to rouse at my dogs. Ah, puppies. Alright, and then I'm going to count back my 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to go into here and slip stitch closed. And now the petal part, I'm just going to do chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably maybe 8 with this one. 8, no, just do 10. 9, 10. So I was copying off the original one, and this one, over the years it's closed up. This one's actually got 15 chain, and I kind of shortened that to 10, and I think I like the 10. I think if it had gone 15 it would be too floppy, so I'm just going to go 10 here. Okay, and we're going to slip stitch back into that stitch there. Okay, so that's going to give us our first petal. We're then going to slip stitch into the next one and do another 10 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip stitch back into that space. That's your next petal. Alright, slip stitch into the next one. Same thing, slip stitch, 10 chain, slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip stitch back into that same space. Slip stitch into the next stitch. So slip stitch, 10 chain, oh, don't do that. Slip stitch, and that's how we're going to work all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and slip stitch into where we came out of, and just continue all the way around. Now slip stitch into the next one. Oh, I'm trying to go too fast. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip stitch back into that same stitch. Slip stitch into the next one. Now, what I think I'm going to do with this one, instead of sewing it on, I think I might actually sew it onto a hair clip. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so that she can put it on, wear it on the hat, wear it in her hair, whatever she'd like to do with it. Just makes it more versatile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip stitch back into that stitch. Now you can make the flower more intricate. This is pretty simple, pretty easy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can change colors. You can have the middle a different color or 2 different colors and do the petal a 3rd color. You can make these into however you want. If you used a yarn with a closer together variegation, you might get a rainbow flower, and that's cool too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10. Join back into that stitch there with a slip stitch. Go to the next one, and we'll do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and slip stitch back into that one. We're nearly there, 2 to go. And slip stitch into the next. Keep wanting to do a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip stitch back into that stitch. We're nearly done. Last one. Slip stitch into that last stitch. And 10 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And slip stitch back into that. And then to finish it, we're actually going to slip stitch into that very first space. And off. Now you can keep your tail here as long or as short as you want. Let me just snip at that. Wait. You can sew it in. Like I said, you can put it onto a little clip. Spread out those petals. I'm going to pull that a little tighter in the middle. Close up my circle. And then find your hat. Oh, sorry. Find your hat. There is the seam. Flip it over and you can put your flower on here anywhere you like. Like I said, you can put it on a clip, you can sew it directly onto the hat. Whatever you would like to do. The original one has a little rosette thing sewn into the middle, which you could do a little diamante or whatever you like. But that is it. That's our finished, without the ends sewn in, our finished hat. I hope that you have a go at this. As you can see, it was really quite easy. I'm trying to get rid of all these extra bits and pieces here. It's really quite easy. Great for a little girl of any age. You can make it bigger or smaller simply by changing your hook size. If you want to make it a lot smaller, only do 4 rows of increase and maybe 8 rows of the straight edge. But that's it. That's our tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you have a go. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.